Welcome to Gromas Mines, the Blood Moon, Mission 5 of the Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster. Of course, this walkthrough can be used for the original Dark Forces as well. I'll be playing on easy for the sake of creating a smooth walkthrough. Bear in mind that if you play on harder difficulties, the game will add enemies and may remove some of the items you see in this video. I'll be showing you how to get all of the secrets and accomplish all of the objectives in this mission. This first part is just a big open area you have to traverse to get to the entrance to the facility. There are lots of enemies here. So sorry for the jerky movements. I'm just looking around to look for things to shoot. Keep this ledge in mind. We'll be coming back to it later at the end of the mission. That's how you get back to the landing area where you meet your ship after you've planted the explosive and done the other things you need to do. Once you get to the other end of this canyon thing, you can take this elevator up into the facility, and there's just a lot more shooting to do. It's pretty straightforward, actually. There are a few parts of this mission that get a little bit convoluted that you may have difficulty finding your way around, but for the most part, it's pretty linear, moving from one part of the facility to the next. Now, we are going to be getting all of this mission's secrets in about 20 seconds here. First off, we have a hidden door here. This is your first secret of 4. Oh, look, here's number 2. Yes, this counts as a separate secret. We're now up to 50%. Here's number 3. Look at that, we're at 75%. And then number 4 is right here. And that's it. That's all of the secrets for this mission. I'm not sure who designed this one, but I feel like there were some questionable decisions made. However, it does have quite a few areas where it's fun to use thermal detonators, so I kind of like this mission for that, but some of the design choices for the layout of this place, I just don't really understand. Cramming all the secrets together like that is one of those things. This is an elevator. If you ever find an elevator that's stuck in the wrong position or stuck up when you need it to be down, just use your activate button on it, and that will return it to the position you need it to be in. Same thing if you're on an elevator and it's not going anywhere because it just kind of didn't register that you had stepped onto it, you can just aim down and use your activate button on the elevator itself, and that'll get it moving. It's one of those things the game doesn't tell you directly. Alright. We are getting near to the end of this linear section, just kind of moving room to room, shooting things. More fun with thermal detonators. And I am very... this is... all of the previous missions I played on hard first. This one I didn't, so I'm very curious to see what this actually is like on hard. I imagine it's a bit of a nightmare, because there's so many enemies here on easy. I can't imagine what it's going to be like on hard. Now we're just waiting for our ride. This is another thing that... this is one of those set pieces that serves the gameplay, and you have to wonder about what the practical application of this is. Like, what is this? Some kind of giant drill that's somehow just floating? It's very, very strange. But anyway, you ride it down and look for this passageway here. Be careful when you're crossing over these octagonal holes in the floor. These are big crushers. Now, if you fall in there and the thing comes down on you, it's not an instant kill, thankfully. Oh, by the way, this door requires the blue key, so we'll be coming back. These things are thankfully not an instant kill, but they will drain your shields and health really fast, so just be very careful. 2 ways to go here. We're going to take the left passageway first. Not because there's anything essential to do over here, but because this allows us to pick off some enemies that will kind of be a thorn in our sides later if we don't deal with them. You may find it helpful to use your IR goggles. This level has kind of a fog dust effect that kind of limits your visibility. Right there where I'm aiming, that hole in the wall there, is where the blue key is. Another one of those things about this level that makes me scratch my head. It's just stuck in the wall above the pit. Be careful jumping out of here. It's very easy to lose your footing and fall down in the pit. If you do fall down there, you will take some damage. It's not an instant kill as long as you have sufficient health/shields, and then you can find an elevator that will bring you up close to where this blue key door is. However, it's just overall just better if you avoid falling down in there. More curvy hallways with crushers. This one you actually have to jump down to a lower level here. And by the way, this is the secondary fire function of the repeater gun. It fires 3 shots simultaneously, which one-shots most enemies. And after I take out these guys, I'm just going to show you that in the hole for this crusher, there are actually some items you can grab, so if you want to jump in there and grab them, you can. These are some of the enemies we took out from up there. If we hadn't killed them earlier, then they'd all have been waiting for us behind that last crusher. So it just makes it a little easier. Hop across here, more hallways. Not much to say about this part, really. It's just kind of more of the same until you get to the end. Once again, we are going to pick off some of these enemies so that they're not shooting. We have to wait for a little while for a certain crusher to be in a certain position. Now, I could have actually hopped down earlier and made the cycle, but I was a little bit slow. Now, you see there's an extra life over there. It's possible to sprint and jump into those side passages, but it's really not worth it unless you really want those extra lives. It's very hard to jump back. You might fall down the pit, and if that doesn't kill you, then you have to go back to that same elevator I mentioned earlier, which takes you back to where the blue key door is. Really not worth it, in my opinion. We are approaching the final objective of this mission. In this area, there are all kinds of side passages winding around here. I'm not going to enter into any of them right now. You may recognize that the design of this area just screams boss fight, and indeed we're going to have a mini boss fight here right away. So those side passages might be a little more useful, perhaps even necessary, to assist your survival in fighting this Dark Trooper endoskeleton on harder difficulties. And actually, like I said, I haven't played this on harder difficulties, so there might be multiple endoskeletons on hard difficulty. I'm not even sure. Those side passages might be more helpful for assisting your survival. There are some items in there. There are also some turrets you'd probably want to clear out before engaging the boss fight, so keep that in mind as well. We're back at that big moving pillar thing that we rode downward. This door is now open. Now this hallway is kind of weird. You have to pull this lever, which very slowly opens a bunch of doors leading down this hallway. And as soon as you leave this doorway, the doors start closing again. Very slowly, but if they're not all the way open, you're not going to make it to the end of this big corridor. There's also a whole bunch of enemies that don't just shoot at you, but they can physically block your path so that you can't make it down the hallway fast enough, which is why I'm taking as many as I can out with these thermal detonators. If you're wondering how I'm getting them to bounce like that, that's the secondary fire function of the thermal detonator. It causes them to explode after a 3-second delay instead of exploding on impact. Once you are out of the facility, there's just a whole bunch of enemies to deal with, and you have to make your way back to the starting area. That's about it. That's all there is to do. I got a little disoriented here, but finally remembered, oh yeah, the exit's over this way. And once again, I'm going to engage my IR goggles just to make it a little easier to see where the enemies are. The stormtroopers just show up nice and crisp with their white armor. This passage will lead you out through a crevice in the rocks in that original big open area where we entered the facility. Just drop down here and we're back in that area. Come around to the right, like so, and then follow the left wall to get out of here. Now, you ready to see some Jedi stormtroopers? Zoom. A little bit strange, if you ask me. Mostly, this part is going to be like when we arrived. Basically just taking out enemies that are in our way and making our way to the other side of this area. Here's that ledge I pointed out earlier. Hop up here and you're back to the landing area. And if you didn't grab them earlier, there's enough time to grab these thermal detonators before the mission ends. That's it for this bizarrely designed level. I will see you in the next one. Before you go, why not check out some of the other entertaining and enriching gaming content we have here at the Triple S League, like Maximum News, our weekly gaming news podcast hosted by Max Darrett. You'll also find comedy, reviews, and lore videos, and the description has links to our other channels, like Scenometry, where I humorously overthink TV and movies.